President Joe Biden announces the student loan forgiveness application is now available. West Virginia WIC increases its cash value benefits to offset inflation. Meteorologist Kurt Greenfield has your forecast, and Ryan Wilson joins us in sports. WTAP News at 11 starts now.
Live from our studios at One Television Plaza, this is WTAP News at 11.
President Joe Biden unveiled the new website for student borrowers who are eligible to apply for loan debt forgiveness. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Phyllis Smith. Well, turning to the weather first, there's a freeze warning in effect. Meteorologist Kurt Greenfield joins us now with the first look at your forecast. Kirk?
You're right. The temperature continues to drop. We're getting ready for the freeze to actually occur. We're at 43 according to the Jan Dills Marietta Skycam atop the Lafayette Hotel. It feels like 37. That's the wind chill. The wind's out of the west at 10 miles per hour, and the relative humidity 45%. The winds, well, again, we're looking at the barometer 29.80 and somewhat steady. So when we take a look where the freeze warning is, it's everything under the purple here. Virtually all our counties, although it drops off as we get to Noble and Monroe County and up towards Pittsburgh. For some reason, they're not included, but this runs till at least 10 tomorrow morning. So if you have any vegetation that you're trying to preserve, you've got to bring them inside. Not enough to put a sheet over top of it. As you can see from the day planner, we'll drop down through the 30s until just at sunrise. We're looking at about 33 degrees. Now, that's close enough in some areas. It will actually kill the plants and be the end of the growing season. Well, this whole week we're going to be running the risk of this, so you need to be very aware of it if you're trying to extend those plants for any period of time. That's the current situation. We'll talk more about what's coming on Wednesday when I return. Back to you.
Thank you, Kurt. President Joe Biden is reminding everyone you can now apply for the next round of student loan forgiveness. He spoke today as the formal application dropped after a beta version first debuted this weekend. WTAP Washington News Bureau reporter Jamie Bittner breaks down what you need to know if you plan to sign up.
This is what that application looks like to apply for the president's student loan forgiveness. It only takes a few minutes to fill out, and it asks you for things like your name, your birth date, your social security number. Scroll down and hit submit, and in 4 to 6 weeks, officials say you could see that relief.
I've been working with my financial advisor.
2020 Bridgewater College grad Bridget Fabiani is one of the people pouncing on the president's promise to extend student loan forgiveness.
It's honestly been more of a relief knowing that, you know, when you're in undergrad, you know that it's looming. Like you're going to graduate and you're going to have to start paying it back.
It's easy, it's fast.
President Biden is eager to get the word out.
The new student loan application is now open. If you have federal student debt, please visit studentaid.gov.
Take a scroll through the application and the questions are easy to answer. No documents required.
We're going to make sure that there's not a lot of red tape here. We're going to get it done.
The student loan forgiveness is intended to benefit people making less than $125,000 and households with less than $250,000 in income. People with Pell Grants can get up to $20,000 in relief. Other borrowers can get up to $10,000. Student loan payments are also currently frozen through December 31st, and President Biden warns this is the last extension. As of January, you have to start making those payments. Do you feel ready? I
feel ready. Personally, I'm in a good spot. I mean, it was always in the back of my mind. I always knew that it had to be paid, but it was nice to have that pause and to kind of get, you know, like your ducks in a row.
Once again, this is the formal application. If you filled out the beta version of the application this weekend, you won't have to resubmit again, but everyone has to get those applications in by December 31st of 2023. In Washington, I'm Jamie Bittner.
The U.S. Secretary of Education, meanwhile, reminds everyone to be aware of scams. The only place to sign up for student loan forgiveness is on studentaid.gov. We are following up on additional benefits for families who rely on West Virginia's WIC program. That stands for Women, Infants, and Children. This month, families got a boost to their cash value benefits. This ranges from $25 to more than $70. The director of West Virginia's WIC program says the changes were made to offset inflation. She also says it gives families more choices.
What that means is families have more buying power for fresh, frozen, or canned fruits and vegetables through WIC authorized retailers throughout the state.
She says there was a 3% jump in the number of families using the program during the fiscal year that ended last month. The Wood County Commission unanimously voted to sign the proclamation in support of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. This will be for Wood County and other areas that the Family Crisis Intervention Center serves. Teresa Smith, a sexual assault response advocate, says that the support from the commissioners shows how much the community wants to help. She says it gives people who are experiencing domestic violence hope.
It empowers them to be able to get out away from their abuser and to be able to stand on their own 2 feet.
Smith added that she believes this is a good step forward to encourage more change. Time is almost up if you have not or are not registered to vote in the upcoming election in West Virginia. A voter registration form must be in the county clerk's possession by tomorrow for people who register in person. Secretary of State Mac Warner's office says registration may also be completed by mail, and that must be received or postmarked by Tuesday. Voters may also register online by the close of business of their county clerk's office. People can download a mail-in form, register online, or find the county clerk's contact on the Secretary of State's website. You can find that link on WTAP.com. Early voting is already happening in Ohio. Wood County Schools is giving people a chance to learn more about a continuing levy on the November 8th ballot. The school board is asking people to pass the renewal of the operating levy. If approved, officials say the levy will have many benefits for all schools within the county, and it will have no changes to the taxes that residents currently pay. Officials say the levy will also help fund school safety and security. The levy has been in place since 1945. A community meeting will be tomorrow evening at the Wood County Technical Center on Blizzard Drive. If you are interested, the meeting will start at 6 p.m. It is National School Bus Safety Week, and school officials are requesting drivers be mindful of buses and use caution. Wood County Schools Communications Coordinator Michael Erb says that drivers and others out on the road need to be more aware. This is not only with school buses, but also when driving through a school zone or a crosswalk. Obey any crossing guards or traffic officials, and be aware of what to do when a school bus is stopped and the lights are flashing.
The lights are flashing on a school bus, you need to stop. And you wait until the lights have stopped flashing and the school bus has begun moving again, then to resume. You have to be very, very careful to watch at crosswalks. We will have crossing guards at a lot of crosswalks, and as long as they're out in the street, you need to have stopped.
Officials say to give extra room to a school bus and treat it like a big rig. Passing a school bus when the lights are flashing can result in a fine. There was a dedication to the wheelhouse in Mount Wood Park this afternoon. Mount Wood Park has built a dedication to a wheel that was used over 100 years ago in the old endless cable system. The cable system brought oil to what used to be the town of Volcano for years. The oil wheel had been outside in the weather for decades. Mike Naylor, who donated the funding for the preservation of the oil wheel, says preserving history is beneficial to future generations.
I think it's so younger people in years to come will appreciate the heritage and the culture they came from. Volcano, as I mentioned outside, produced some of the highest quality oil anywhere.
Naylor and Mount Wood Park officials say they are looking for more relics to preserve. The Mid-Ohio Valley Health Department is holding a free training class for people that can save lives. The health department will be holding a volunteer reception center training class this Tuesday. The class teaches what to do when disaster strikes. Health Department Public Information Officer Amy Phelps says that after floods in West Virginia and the derecho this past summer, this service is important to provide to those willing to volunteer.
Here at the Mid-Ohio Valley Health Department, we also have a threat preparedness section, and the best thing to do is to be prepared and to have these kinds of plans laid out in advance of a disaster, so everyone knows where to start and how to best try to help everyone they can without being pulled into dangerous scenarios or just panic that can happen. It's always best to be prepared.
The training will be at the Judge Black Annex in the Curry Room. The training will be from 9 in the morning to 3 p.m. tomorrow. The class is free and it comes with lunch during the training. To register, you can click on the link on WTAP.com. The Putnam Street Tunnel in Marietta has recently gotten recognition for its beautiful artwork. The tunnel mural got 2 awards for the Best Ohio Main Street project. The mural adds some color to the city and it highlights the wildlife in the area. Public Art Committee Chairman Bobby Rosenstock says the mural adds to the fact that Marietta is a gem.
It looks beautiful. You know, we're seeing tons of people taking all sorts of photographs in front of them and seeing them pop up in social media. And so those things just kind of add some momentum to all the great things that Marietta already offers.
The Marietta Main Street Facebook page has more information about the mural and what new projects may be coming up. Still ahead, the trial of a man accused of killing 8 people in Pike County in 2016 continued into its 6th week of testimony on Monday. Next at 11.
A freeze warning is into effect overnight in the Mid-Ohio Valley and will run to at least 10 tomorrow morning. That's next.
Tonight's News Bowl is sponsored by Baker & Baker Jewelers and by the Basement Doctor of West Virginia.
The trial of a man accused of killing 8 people in Pike County in 2016 continued into its 6th week of testimony on Monday. The prosecution played several audio clips for the jury taken from wiretaps throughout the investigation. George Wagner V, along with his mother, Angela, Father George Billy Wagner, and brother Edward Jake Wagner are accused of shooting and killing the Roden family members execution style. The family's bodies were found on April 22, 2016. He faces 8 charges of aggravated murder, along with other charges associated with tampering with evidence, conspiracy, and forgery. The trial is the first time a person has faced a jury for the deaths of the Roden family 6 years ago. Let's check with meteorologist Kurt Greenfield for another look at the forecast. Kurt?
A very chilly night in the Mid-Ohio Valley, but fortunately we're not expecting to see much precipitation out of this. When we take a look at the radar satellite composite, we do see some green returns to the north, but they tend to die out before they can ever get to the Mid-Ohio Valley, which is a good thing. We're seeing the cloud cover moving in. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough to really slow the drop of our temperature overnight, and we do have a freeze warning that's currently in effect. The Highmark West Virginia Skycam says we're at 43 degrees. It feels like 37. The relative humidity is 45%. The wind's out of the west at 10 and the barometer 29.80 inches and steady. When we take a look at our current temperatures, we're at 43, one of the warmer reports right now, if you can believe that. 42 in Charleston and Athens, 40 in Columbus, Cleveland, Toledo, and Cincinnati. Winds generally from the west 8 to 10 miles per hour. Bit stronger as we get up into northern Ohio, and you can see the wind chill again dragging the apparent temperature down to or below freezing for the majority of northern Ohio. We're not to that point quite yet. When we take a look at the 24-hour temperature change, we're about 10 to 11 degrees colder than last night at this time. When we look for any precipitation at this point, we do see some changeover of the showers from the Great Lakes over into snow flurry action, but nothing that's going to reach us in the Mid-Ohio Valley. The radar satellite composite again shows the rotation around that low pressure system, and like spokes in a wheel or fan blade, we're seeing those waves come off the Great Lakes, but not really enough to get to us in the short term. As we go overnight, increasing clouds, and as we get into Tuesday, it does look like it'll be a mostly cloudy day with potentially a few showers that are more likely to turn over to snow as we cross the line into Wednesday. So Wednesday is looking like there may be some snow overnight. No major accumulation expected, however, and it will melt away. The allergy alert says low pollen levels as we go through this week, a little rise come Wednesday. So the forecast says a freeze warning in effect. It's chilly. We're anticipating getting down to about 34, 35 tonight, and we're down to the last quarter moon that it'll be up very late. As we get into tomorrow, we only warm up to about 46, breezy and mostly cloudy through the course of the day. And we turn on the caution light for Wednesday because of that snowfall, about a 50-50 chance of that occurring, and then we drop below freezing. As you can see, we'll be close to freezing most of the nights this work week. Will warm up as we get into the weekend to the 70s once more. Well, tonight's winner for the Sketch the Outdoors contest, sponsored by People's Bank, is Peekaboo Pumpkin by Luke Walters, age 6 of Vincent. If you'd like to enter the daily contest, submit your digital copy of your child's outdoor artwork on our WTAP webpage. Look for the entry, Sketch the Outdoors, and follow the directions to upload and enter. A new winner is drawn each weekday and presented at both 6 and 11 p.m. newscasts. Phyllis?
Thank you, Kirk. Still ahead, a group of researchers are working on improving breast cancer outcomes in Appalachia. That story is next at 11. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Two groups are in the process of doing research to help improve breast cancer outcomes in Appalachia. Robert Castillo from our sister station, WVVA, reports.
Dr. Fred Barker is involved with Community Connections and Appalachian Medical Professionals. Those two groups are backing the new research to help breast cancer patients in rural Appalachia achieve better outcomes. The research will span 5 years.
One of the things that we're going to focus on is using breast cancer survivors because, of course, they are probably the women who are the most motivated to help improve outcomes.
Dr. Barker says our region has some of the most deaths across the country right now when it comes to cancer as a whole. But if they focus on solutions to help with breast cancer, like early detection and screening, they can change that.
If, as we're going along, we see some things that seem to make some improvements, that's what we're going to focus on. We're going to make those changes as we go. And what we hope to be able to show is demonstrable outcome improvements by what we're doing here.
The doctor adds they're working on gathering data from healthcare providers across 15 counties across the two Virginias. He believes a maximum of 35% of women in those counties are getting annual mammograms as recommended.
I think that there are healthcare disparities that go on. We're generally poorer than the rest of the population. We have transportation problems. We have some education problems.
Dr. Barker says they are working to add reliable data about breast cancer to their website in the coming weeks. We're posting a link to that website over on WVVA.com so even more people can participate in the data collection. Robert Castillo, WTAP News.
There was recently a big celebration for one of the oldest citizens in Mercer County, Virginia. Dolores Dottie Pritchett celebrated her 102nd birthday at her home at the Mercer Nursing and Rehabilitation Center in Bluefield, Virginia. Mrs. Pritchett was a wife, mother, and a lifelong Bluefield, Virginia resident and a devout Catholic. She was surprised by all the attention she is getting. Her advice for a long life is pretty simple.
It's not about being the stick in the mud. It's being traveling and conquering stuff and doing something nice and adventuresome and making life interesting.
Love her advice. Don't be a stick in the mud. Happy birthday again, Dolores. Coming up next, a woman in southern West Virginia opens a boxing gym in honor of her late brother. That story is next at 11.
Cancer to their website in the coming weeks. We're posting a link to that website over on WVVA.com so even more people can participate in the data collection. Robert Castillo, WTAP News.
There was recently a big celebration for one of the oldest citizens in Mercer County, Virginia. Dolores Dottie Pritchett celebrated her 102nd birthday at her home at the Mercer Nursing and Rehabilitation Center in Bluefield, Virginia. Mrs. Pritchett was a wife, mother, and a lifelong Bluefield, Virginia resident and a devout Catholic. She was surprised by all the attention she is getting. Her advice for a long life is pretty simple.
It's not about being the stick in the mud. It's being traveling and conquering stuff and doing something nice and adventuresome and making life interesting.
Love her advice. Don't be a stick in the mud. Happy birthday again, Dolores. Coming up next, a woman in southern West Virginia opens a boxing gym in honor of her late brother. That story is next at 11.
You can download the free Pinpoint Weather app from WTAP and get all the weather information downloaded directly to your phone. Tonight we're going down to about 34, 35, clear and cold, and there is a freeze warning in effect until 10 tomorrow morning because so many of us will be so close to that freezing mark. Our tender vegetation and the plants that we're trying to baby along are likely to die if they're not taken in tonight. So be prepared.
Thank you, Kirk. That's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you for joining us and have a great night.